Good morning, people. It is Thursday, April 21st, and this is my morning vlog. I'm on my way to work today, of course. It's a wonderful, beautiful day. It is about 67 degrees. Got a little bit warm yesterday. It was the 90s when I left work, and it didn't cool down for quite some time. So I didn't grill out until much later. It was actually dark by after 8 o'clock before I got the grill going. Anyway, this one's for the ladies today. I just want to mention some shout outs to some friends and family back home. First of all, to my mom. I talked to you the other day, texted you the other day, but I just want to thank you for my appreciation of music. I remember as a child, or as a kid, Casey's Top 40. My mom and I, and whatever sister was alive at that point, my sisters were much younger, 4 years and 8 years younger, but we used to listen to Casey's Coast to Coast Top 40 in the 70s faithfully, and always wait for that number one song. And thanks to my mom, she had some records. I think she had the Bee Gees, Helen Reddy, Herb Alpert, and Simon and Garfunkel. So my mom turned me on to some great music. Thank you, Mom, for my appreciation of music. I have satellite radio. I've been a long-time subscriber off and on. Every time I've had a car that I can either have an installed Sirius satellite radio receiver, or I've even bought the external ones and connected it through however you do it. And I've really enjoyed satellite radio. There's over 100 stations of commercial-free music. You've got all your sports, all your news, and some of the things that, some people are into the Howard Stern thing. That isn't me, but I know I have cousins, Frank and Bill, and others that like Howard Stern. And it's not my taste, but when I was younger, I liked it. But now it's kind of more of the same stuff. But now I listen to comedy stations on occasion, and Jim Gaffigan, and then they've got the greats from days gone by. In fact, I don't know if people knew this, but Andy Griffith, before he had his TV show, or maybe during when he had his TV show, did stand-up. And I've heard some of his clips, and very country-ish, old-fashioned humor, but still very talented. The other ladies I'd like to say shout out to, of course, my daughter. Her birthday was last week. But also Cindy and Mary, who have been faithful friends on Facebook for a long time, back from Webster, back from the school days. And thank you for commenting and posting and making notes on my Facebook. I really appreciate it. Of course, my two sisters, Chris and Catherine, great ladies, and are doing well in life. So yeah, this was kind of for the ladies. I just want to give a shout out to them. On another note, again, I mentioned the hot air balloons. I'm waiting for someone to kind of put a post or a comment on how hot air balloons I know how they can go up and down, and I know how they can sail with the wind, but does anyone know, can they go, in any direction? Is there a way, like a sailboat, even if the wind is going the other way, for them to come back? I think that might be a mystery of life, or a mystery of science, or a mystery of physics. Just something that just random thoughts. These things, it's funny because my mind works in such a strange way. I think about things and I try to find the answer. And a lot, I suppose I could Google the answer, but that'd be no fun. It's more fun to have someone come up with, I know the answer to this. And think about this, our society now, when you have these arguments between friends and family, you can Google it and say, hey, no, the right answer is this. Johnny Cash did sing Ring of Fire, or Joaquin Phoenix, who played him, or whatever. You can look up those details as to what's going on. Oh, by the way, just on the left of me just passed a Tesla. People may not realize this. Tesla is a 100% electric car. It gets between 250 and 280 miles of range on that charge. You can drive from one end of the country to the other, west to east, because there's charging stations all along the route now. Anyway, Tesla's come out with a car that will be, in the next year or two, people will be able to buy. It's affordable. The current Teslas are pushing $100,000. These new ones are about half as much. And I've had the opportunity to be on the Tesla mailing list for a few years now, just out of curiosity, and been invited to many test drives. Not that I'm ever going to buy one, but it's kind of neat to see them and the technology. They're, in fact, the Tesla Ludicrous model goes 0 to 60 like in 2.9 seconds. It's literally faster than any other car from 0 to 60, and you can have 5 adults in it, whereas your Lamborghinis, your Ferraris, your Corvettes or whatever, basically made for two people. Tesla has a version that is faster than those cars for 5 people, but it just doesn't have the, I guess, the panache or the sportiness of a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or even of a Corvette. Personally, I like the Tesla. When my son came into town, we did go to the Tesla dealer because it's in the mall, and we sat in the car, we looked at the car, we talked to the salesman, just out of fun and curiosity to learn more about the technology. And it's pretty amazing what these cars can do. And with the current oil and gas prices being relatively cheap, you know, it may not be such an issue, but when oil and gas prices go up because of scarcity, I think electric is a viable alternative. And if you'll note, computer technology and everything is advanced by leaps and bounds. Battery technology is really not kept up. And if it had, I think you would see more electric vehicles, because really our dependence on foreign oil is crazy. Between Canada, Mexico, the US, and maybe Brazil, we don't need anyone else's oil but theirs, and we can stay, you know, in our own continent, our own hemisphere, really. The other thing I'm wondering too, back in the day, you know, the 1800s and even into the early 1900s, they made farm machinery and implements and trains that ran on, you guessed it, steam power. There's water all around. Not here in Phoenix, this is a desert, but there's water all around. You know, you'd think, why couldn't they make a steam engine small enough, you know, with the technology that we have, so we could use water? And I know that Honda has a car that basically emits water when it's like some sort of a vehicle that it uses hydrogen and combines the oxygen, and the exhaust is water, because H2O, hydrogen 2, oxygen 1. So I know that there's some derivative thereof in a Honda vehicle, but you know, these little things I wonder about, because again, I know there's other solutions other than gasoline, but maybe ultimately gasoline is the cheapest solution currently. But you know, from an environmental standpoint, from a political standpoint, oil and gas seems to be less appealing, especially when you look at the geopolitical forces involved. Oh, and yeah, the election, you know, New York is done. Now, I guess one of the last primaries is California, which I don't think is until June. Don't know why theirs is so late. But who's with me that wants this political process to be over with? You know, I guess I'm just burned out. Maybe we go too long with the election. Maybe we need to shorten it up. Because I'll tell you, at work, we used to have CNN on, and they've recently just made a business decision to turn CNN off, and they've turned on CNBC. Now, up through yesterday at least, the stock market was doing pretty well. So I think there was some, hey, let's get some good news instead of some bad news on the monitors when you're on break or walking between buildings, or, you know, because honestly, the CNN is just like everyone else, like Fox News, like all of them. They just politicize everything, and they really focus on the wrong things. You know, there's not enough feel-good stories, not enough positive, so much negativity. Now, as long as the stock market stays positive, I suppose they'll keep CNBC on. But